the leaders have an opportunity to have the open debate on this question. It's for 4 minutes. Mr. Singh, you may begin.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, I mean, we look at the track record of this government, and in reality, Statistics Canada points out in 2017, the wealthiest actually paid less in tax and gained more in wealth. And when we look at one of the biggest problems that we're faced with as a country is offshore tax havens. Now, not only did your finance minister use offshore tax havens, but also the president of the Treasury Board. She also used offshore tax havens. So how can you tell Canadians we don't have the money to fund things like universal pharmacare when your top two cabinet ministers don't pay their fair share?
Mr. Scheer, you might remember that, Mr. Singh, you might remember that summer
very different from Mr. Scheer.
You got it.
You got it. I mean,
you look so alike, it's really difficult for me.
There's nothing in common here, man.
We had a huge fight with the wealthiest Canadians and the Conservatives when we closed tax loopholes that Mr. Scheer is going to reopen and give tax breaks worth $50,000 to the wealthiest Canadians. We're going to keep moving forward in a way that invests in Canadians.
Mr. Trudeau, we'll give Mr. Scheer an opportunity to respond.
You called small business owners tax cheats. You called entrepreneurs who have created jobs and opportunities in our society tax cheats, all the while protecting your trust fund and those of your billionaire friends. What we are doing is lowering taxes for all Canadians. We've got a universal tax cut that will lower the first bracket, that will save $850 for the average income couple. We are going to bring in tax credits for kids' sports.
Yes, for sure. What they are doing, they are spending, and
tax cuts are not
everybody
spending.
here on the stage, everybody here on the stage are spending more money. And you cannot create wealth when the government is spending money. You must have the right policies for the entrepreneur, actually. We want the private sector to be able to invest. The private sector will create wealth.
That's why we're going to undo his tax hikes.
You won't balance the budget. Nobody will balance the budget.
His tax hikes.
I cannot
Ms. May, you'd like the opportunity.
Thank you. At the beginning of this segment, Mr. Singh pointed out that Mr. Trudeau has not changed the climate targets from those of Mr. Harper. It needs to be said very clearly, and I'm so disappointed because I believed the Liberals in 2015 that they would go with science-based, evidence-based policies. But the target that Mr. Trudeau is saying he will hit by 2030 is a target for losing the fight against climate change because it ignores the science, it ignores the IPCC advice. On this stage tonight, the Green Party is the only party with a plan, Mission Possible, that will actually protect us.
A plan that will destroy the economy. A plan that will destroy the economy.
You know that's not true.
It is
true. You know that's not true.
Yours is 38% below 2005.
Our plan is to stay in line with science. Our plan is this.
Which science did you find that
Our plan is in line with
the
the IPCC report, and it's to keep warming within 1.5 degrees, which you love to say, and it's very important, and I agree with you.
I love to say it.
You do, which is very important, and it's a very important thing.
Because it's about our children's survival, which I love to protect.
To take on the climate crisis that we're in, it's going to require the courage to fight big polluters. It's going to take the courage to stand up to the massive lobbyists that Mr. Trudeau has caved into, and the reason why we continue to pay subsidies to the fossil fuel sector. We would immediately end those subsidies.
Ms. May, the experts are agreed that what a climate plan needs to do is to be ambitious and doable. And of the plans that are forward here on this stage, there is only one plan that the experts have qualified as both ambitious and doable, and that is the plan that we have begun to put in place over the past 4 years.
Last word.
Mr. Trudeau's plan is failing. It is making everything more expensive for hardworking Canadians, and he has granted a massive exemption to the country's largest emitters.
That's not true,
Our plan takes the climate change fight global, recognizing that Canada can do more to fight climate change by exporting our clean technology and helping other countries lower their emissions.
And that concludes, that is all the time we have for the open debate.